Evening, everybody. We're live for tonight's session. I'm just checking that everybody can hear me okay and you're all logged in. If you can hear me, see me, please let me know in the chat so I can see that you're all here watching, present and correct. And we will start tonight's session in a couple of minutes. Hopefully you can all see me here. Wave hello in the chat or say hello in the chat so I can see that you're all here. And we'll get into the training. Hi. If you want to interact with me and you're on Facebook, you can actually just click the add restream in and you can see us. Hi, Miss Linda. Hi, Shanae. Hi, Marie. So we're going to start in 2 more minutes and we're going to walk through some of the content. Hi, Marie. Hi, Paul. And go through how you can use content. And maybe we'll have time for some examples as well. Hi, Samuel. Hi, John. Everybody can hear me all right by the looks of it, which is good. Just let me know where you're calling. I always say that for some reason. Just let me know where you're joining from as well. That'd be cool. It's always nice to see how far people are. I'm in Plymouth tonight. Hi, Kiki. And we're going to talk about content and how you can use content to actually draw people in and engage with you in a way that does a lot of the selling for you. And some of what I'm going to show you, hi Sanji, some of what I'm going to show you tonight will actually be very counterintuitive, but it works. Siren says, oh, Kiki, that's not far away. I'm in Plymouth. Israel, awesome. I love Israel. I've not been to Israel for a few years now with all this going on. Hi, Daniela in UK. London town, Amsterdam, Catherine, hi. So Sanji, London, Portugal, awesome. London, Johannesburg. Yeah, so we've got a number of different countries here, which is awesome. Idaho, so wonderful. Denmark, brilliant. So content, we're going to go through this. What I'd like to do at the end is I'd like to leave some time and I'll actually construct a post as an example. So what I'm going to do to give you an example. So what I'd like you to do is as we go through this, I want you to think about, why did I do that then? Think about who is your target customer and what are the challenges and problems you fix. Now, I will share and reference a worksheet that you can get as part of this session. It's free, but it will help you think about this in more detail. So if you want that worksheet, you can drop me a message on LinkedIn. That's my favorite social media channel. Or if we're friends on Facebook or you want to friend me on Facebook, friend me on Facebook and we'll send you this PDF worksheet. Without you understanding your customers' problems and challenges, you will not be able to articulate in a way that's relevant to them your message. Remember, you're responsible for not just broadcasting or putting your message out there, you're also responsible for it being understood. If you've got a piece of paper and pens, by the way, make a note of that because it's so, so important. I see so much content going out that's absolute gobbledygook, makes no sense. But it made sense to the person who wrote it. So the job of your content, before we kick into this, make a note of this, the job of your content is to actually land a message so that the receiver of that message, the receiver or the reader or the viewer of that content actually understands. It's not just about putting it out there and hoping some people pick it up. So let's just crack on and we'll get to that as we go. So just a quick intro. If you've never joined one of our sessions before, we do webcasts every single week and on different topics. This is one of our more popular topics. So I think there's about 80 or so people on YouTube. There's 100 and something on LinkedIn watching and all the other channels. So there'll be about 500-600 people watch this in the next 24 hours. Maverick is a business. Yes, we want to work with people and we have paid services, but one of our missions is to help 1 million businesses grow their revenue, margin, and profit. And our webcasts are part of that. So if you get value from this, please do spread the word. But more importantly, you need to implement what you learned tonight. Yeah, I'm not saying it's just over 7 p.m. in the UK. I'm not here doing this so that you can go, that was interesting, I'll remember that one day. I want you to go practice it. And many, many people have just implemented from these sessions and closed more business. And there's testimonials and all sorts I can share with you, but it does work. So content marketing, let's just look at some of the basics. I'll just say hello to a few people. Hi, Jay. Hi, Aaliyah. Hi, Ray. Hi, Tanwin. Hi, another Ray. Hi, Janie. Hi, Corey. Hi, Ivy. Hi, Maximilian. Maximilian, that's a powerful name, isn't it? So content marketing, let's just look at the basics. Then we'll go into how we can use it to attract and convert people to buy from you. So fundamental number one, you provide value so your prospects can see for themselves. Notice what's in bold here, that you can help them. It's not about telling. I've got a brilliant little quote, a real fantastic quote I want to share with you. I should have put it in the slides, but I didn't. But it's a real solid quote that you should make a note of. Are you ready for this one? Showing rather than telling will always be more compelling. Showing rather than telling will always be more compelling. What do I mean by that? In your content, it's very hard for you to promote and be balanced. It's very hard for your prospects to see a promotional post and say, that's trustworthy, because they know you're trying to sell. So in your content, you're trying to show people so they can see for themselves the value you can make, the difference you can make. You don't get that by telling people how amazing you are. You don't get that by telling people you're wonderful or your awards. Awards help a little bit. It's about people seeing you. And this is where number one secret that people go wrong is consistency of message has more power than most people even understand. What do I mean by this? Well, we all know that we've seen it in American politics, in British politics, that if you repeat a message enough times, people start to see it, even sometimes when it isn't true. The power of consistent and repetitive, focused messaging is incredible. Now, I'm not advocating you go make up lies. That would be totally wrong. But if you've got a key message, you should really work that message so that people start to see it. And familiarity is one of the key things that helps you in sales. There's a saying of familiarity breeds contempt, but in reality, familiarity builds trust, a level of trust, a level of certainty, a level of familiarity is actually good for you. So repetition of message is really, really powerful. And so one of the key things you should be doing is driving home that message, very focused message, regularly. It takes a human being between 7 and 15 times of hearing a message. Or do you remember on the radio where you'd hear these jingles, you know, the music jingles? It could take you 20 or 30 times to hear that before it gets, you know, when it gets stuck in your head and you just repeat it. And part of this content marketing is just repetition. And sometimes you'll get bored of sharing the same message at the point when your customers and prospects are just starting to wake up to it. You might feel like a stuck record, but they just think, oh, is that what you do? Is that what they're about? Is that how you can help me? So repetition and consistent focused message is the number one thing out of this session tonight you need to take away. But that's one of the ways you can people can see for themselves that you can help them. So let's have a look at some more. So how do you provide value? How do you provide value? So you've got lots of different options of how you use content: social media posts, white papers, blogs, emails, videos, articles, webinars, podcasts, the works. They're all there. Now, I will, in this session tonight, also show you a post that actually got me an inbound sale that's worth over £100,000 worth from one LinkedIn connection. I'll show you how I did that and how I put it together. And it's very counterintuitive. So how do you provide value? You use all of these mediums, tools, to provide value. And obviously social media is a great free way to put stuff out. But you can use all different ways to get messages out. But when I'm talking about content, I'm talking about any of these elements here. So how do you provide the value in those? Well, okay, there's 3 types of content you need to think about in terms of content marketing to sell. There's lose-win. So this is where you provide a lot of value, but you don't benefit. Now, why would you not benefit? So you could provide a great how-to and the customer goes, that's amazing, I'm going to use that myself. Now, sometimes you will want to do that. Sometimes you will want to put value tips out there that will help people. But word to the wise, don't do them about things that you're going to try and help them fix. Try and use them on parallel or minor elements of something that you're going to provide a service. So if I help businesses fix their SEO, I would not do an ultimate guide to DIY SEO. I might give an element that they can do, but I wouldn't give the whole thing out because that would create a lose-win in the content. You'd give a lot of value, a lot of people would appreciate it, but actually you'd undermine your sale. So don't use a lose-win, find something that's parallel, something that's maybe a taster, a small element of what you can offer, and do an ultimate guide to it or something like that, but don't give the whole show away. So there's a lose-win. You get a lot of appreciation and a lot of value out there, and a lot of people have goodwill towards you, but it doesn't actually net you any sales. Then you've got the lose-lose, where you do something totally random. It's off topic, it's to the wrong audience, and so you don't help and you don't benefit. This could be producing a document that actually looks like something of value, but it's actually a sales pitch. There's lots of people who do things like this. For an example, you'll see people sending you messages. I was on your website and I spotted some errors. They send you a message and say, can I send you some stuff? And then literally you say yes, and they send you a sales pitch. So you don't want to lose because it doesn't help. It feels irrelevant to the recipient and you don't win from it. There's no win-win. There's no winning in that scenario. At least with the other analogy, you had a benefit, a residual benefit in the marketplace that people valued you and saw you had some value. Then there's the win-win, and the win-win is where you give value. So you help people, but you have a benefit. And that's where you think very carefully about what you're going to put into the market that can add value, but also leads to a benefit. So they're the 3 types that we need to focus on. And really, you will want to do win-win content where you get a benefit and you help. So it leads people to a sale. So we've done this bit. So it could be lose-win, could be the wrong topics, but it could be that you cater to an audience. You know, all of these things I've already said. Win-win content. So let's look at win-win content in more detail because that's the stuff we really want to focus on. So great content achieves an outcome for you and an outcome for the target audience. Now, it doesn't say it completes it helps the audience massively. It just nudges them in the right direction. It's a bit of value. They go, that was useful. That was useful, because then they align useful with you. So that's why it's really important. So here's some tips I want you to think about. Then we're going to dig into a little bit more in detail. And maybe what I'll do is I'll show you how to write a social post as the demo in the last section. So think about this. What does your target audience want? And what do you want? So here's one example of how you can do this. Perhaps you're writing a blog that's got some real valuable tips that will help your customers or target audience. What do you want out of that blog? You want them to see your expertise. You want them to see that you can help solve that problem. So here's a quick tip. When you're writing your blog or your article or your lead magnet, I can come to how to test a lead magnet another time, maybe in the Q&A. But when you're writing it, when you're including stories or examples as part of your article or blog, remember to use them to subtly mention how you've helped people fix that particular point in that article as part of what you do. So you're using real examples of things that have happened with your customers, albeit maybe anonymously, and sharing that to illustrate the points. Then, as you're giving value, you're also telling people this is how you've helped people fix this very problem. This is how you've helped people address this point. This is a really useful way to get over your value without ramming it down people's throats. Then at the end of this blog, you don't need a hard sales pitch because you've already educated people that if they've got these issues, you can just put a thing at the end. If you want our help to get this done, you drop us a line, fill in this form, download whatever, book a time. Very low key. So there's first point number one. What does the audience want in terms of, do they want to find a way to achieve something? So that's probably the majority of your audiences here tonight. Their prospects will want to find a way to achieve something. And one of your jobs is to build credibility with potential customers. Exactly like we said here. What do they want? They want to find a way to achieve something. What do you want? You want to build credibility with potential customers. You want them to book calls. What's the objective that you want them to do? Now, if this is a cold customer you've never had a conversation with before, it's quite a leap to get people to go from a article to book a call. It's not impossible, but I'll show you how to do that in a minute. So they want to solve a problem in their business. You want to find potential clients who need your or our help. So if this is your objective, solve a problem in their business, they want to solve a problem in their business, and you want to find potential clients who need your help, they need the benefits or the benefits of your product or service, you need to understand where they are right now. Where are they right now? Because if they're trying to solve a problem, what's going on in their business? And this is where our worksheets that you can get from us, totally free. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll put the email address on, and you can email me as well, just in case you don't want to hunt me down on LinkedIn. So if you want this worksheet, this will help you understand the benefits of your service, the problems that are in their business. But I'll give you an example, an explanation really quickly. Everybody on here tonight, their product or service does something. Hopefully, it does something. Yeah. So it achieves a result, an outcome, a benefit. It's something. So your product, quick exercise, and the worksheets I'll share with you if you want to email me or find me on LinkedIn or Facebook. Those worksheets are there to help you crystallize what are the key benefits. What are the key benefits of our product or service? Number one. Then number two, what is the current reality of my prospects that they need those benefits? Everybody get that? What's the current reality of my prospects that they need my benefits? So in other words, if you think about the world of your customer's world with the benefits, with your product or service, they're enjoying X, they're having Y, this result, that benefit. Now go and take that product away. What's going wrong? What's the problems? What's the challenges? What's the frustrations? What's annoying them? What's taking them longer? What's costing them more money? What's happening? So once you know the inverse of the benefits, what's the problems that your product or service fixes, how do you use content to find potential clients who need your help? How do you do it? This all comes down to using wording that explains the problems that customers have. And I'm going to go into more detail in this in a minute. This is really important Most of the battle with content marketing is not in grammar, it's not in topics, it's in this bit. It's about writing articles about the pains and the challenges that customers have and how they can fix them. That's where content, you can really leverage content. So let me give you an example. In fact, what I'll do is I'll try and pull it up. So the reason why coaches, I don't have it handy. There's an article I've got on LinkedIn called The Reason Why Coaches Struggle to Get Clients. The reason why coaches struggle to get clients. And in that article, I explain 3 or 4 reasons why coaches struggle to get clients. I diagnose the problem that coaches have. And in that, I explain the problem, I explain and use examples and all of that stuff. Who do you think pays attention to that article? Well, number one, my competitors will. That's just a fact of life. But 2, it's coaches. Most commonly, coaches who are struggling to get clients. Why? Because I've wrote the article around a pain point that some of my prospects have. Now, that article's maybe 2 years old now. Still works to this day, still bring it out and reuse it every so often. But this is the key. Understand the problem. Now, people say, I'd rather talk about the benefits and the wins of my business. And you can do that too. You can use the how coaches can get 10 clients a month. You can do that. But I found that when you write about the problem, an article about the problem, or a blog around the problem, or a lead magnet, or a post around the problem, those people with that problem swarm and they come to you. Whereas when I've wrote to them about the results, I get people who are not really serious about the problem. They're not. It's more aspirational without any get up and go. So you get far more people tire kicking. But you can do both, and I would encourage you to test both. So here's the thing with your content: people that want to solve a problem in their business. So, and your job is to find potential clients who need your help. So write about the problems that you can fix. Write about the challenges that they have. And I always think about it like this. There's the benefits of your product and service. There's the problems. There's the symptoms. And there's the consequences. So the benefits are what you can do. The problems are the pains, are the real issues that's called the fundamental issues. Yeah. The symptoms are what's happening because of the real issue. So let me give you an example in terms of the common cold. This is the simplest way to explain it. So if I'm selling Lemsip cold and flu. So if I'm selling Lemsip cold and flu, I want to reach people who have a cold. So I could go out to and do my advert. Do you have a cold? Are you struggling with whatever? Yeah, write the questions. When you think about the customer, the prospect, they don't have an issue with having a cold. They don't have an issue with having a cold. They have an issue with the symptoms and the consequences of having a cold. So what do I mean? Well, when you've got a cold, you've got a virus. You've got virus cells running in your body, doing what they do. Now, we don't think about the virus bit. What we actually think about is the runny nose, the watery eyes, and the aches and pains and the tiredness and all of that kind of stuff. Symptoms. Symptom of a cold is a runny nose. It's a watery eye. It's achy. Yeah, they're the symptoms. What's the symptoms if that persists? What happens if that persists? Well, you might have to take a few days off work. You might, and the consequence, you might keep blowing your nose so you end up with a sore nose. Yeah, consequence. And so when you think about your customer and your prospects, there's the real issue, There's the symptom of the real issue, and there's the consequence of the real issue. So when you're writing your content, don't just think, oh, do you have this problem? Yeah. Think about talking about the symptoms. So I'll use a SEO company for an example. So let's say I'm a business owner and I've got a website and my SEO's rubbish. So I might have a problem. My real problem is the SEO's rubbish. But the symptom of the SEO rubbish is low traffic, the wrong traffic, not enough leads, nobody's filling in the inquiry form. Yeah, these are all symptoms. What's the consequence of a low traffic and all of those things? What's the consequence of that? Less sales. Yeah, you're not getting as many sales on your website as your competitor. You're not getting any inquiries. The inquiries are going to your competitors. So they're beating you in Google rankings. So your competitors are getting inquiries that could have been for you. Consequence. Symptom, low traffic, no leads. Problem, bad SEO. So I wouldn't talk just about do you need SEO, because that's talking to an educated customer. I'd be thinking about what are the symptoms? What are the symptoms? It's because if you know the symptoms, you can write posts about, are you not getting enough leads on your website? Is your website traffic low? And explain to them why that problem is there so they can see for themselves that you can solve their problem. Why? Because you're talking about it in a way they're thinking about it. Because most people think very simply. They don't think in big, complicated jargon. They think in pictures. They think in emotions. They don't necessarily instinctively think analytically. So if you talk about the issues that they're facing, and the real issue is more leads on their website. They want more leads. Now, at that point when they're in pain and frustrated, they probably don't care how they get more leads. They probably don't care how they get more inquiries on their website. What they care about is getting it. And they may not necessarily connect that they need SEO, but they do connect with, we need more leads, we need more inquiries. So just think about that. I went into way too much. I think I've jumped a few slides here. So hopefully I haven't put you to sleep yet. I'll do that in a few minutes. No, I'm joking. So the content has to be of interest to your potential clients, and the content has to help you close more business. So people have to see, your goal is to get people to see that if they've got a challenge or a problem, you can get them to an outcome or a solution. Your tool, your product, your service is a tool to help achieve that. So customers don't care about your product until they want to know and get validation that it can actually get them from A to B, from problem to outcome. We'll look at that in a second. But let's just what has to happen to get an inquiry? Let's just ask yourself that question. What has to happen in your world to get an inquiry into your business? What has to happen for a prospect to make an inquiry? Well, the client needs to believe, or the prospect needs to believe, that you have an answer to a problem that they've got. They have to be curious to know, how can you do this? I need to know more. The danger sometimes with content is we try to blast all the information out and we overload people, when quite simply people might just need to know that you can get them from A to B, and an overview of how you can help them get there. That's the simplest bit. But what has to happen to get a sale? So let's have a look at this, because this is important. And then we'll go into some of the mechanics of content. So this is a very simple diagram. And I do it simple because it makes it harder to not understand it. So just focus on the top line at the moment. You've got a customer. Nobody buys anything unless it solves a problem. Nobody. They don't just buy things randomly. They buy it because they think or believe it will help them do or achieve something. So the first stage for somebody to actually open their eyes and realize there's something not quite right is they have to become aware of their problem. They have to become aware of the problem. Now, that might be a symptom, it might be a consequence, or it might be the real problem, but they have to become problem aware. Then they have to reach a point where they go, do you know what? There's got to be a better way of doing this. There must be. Surely that competitor isn't having the same issues we're having. I know for a fact that somebody else, there's this almost diagnosis that there's another way. They don't know what it is, but they know there's another way. Then they go, do you know what? We've got to do this. We've got to find another way. They haven't decided on the path. They haven't decided whether it's SEO or Facebook ads or Google ads or LinkedIn ads. They haven't decided any of that at this point. They just know we've got to sort this out. We've got to sort this out. Then they start to look and decide upon a way to fix the problem. So that might be they look at Facebook ads. It might be they look at Google ads. It might be look at SEO. They'll be looking at all different things. As a customer gets further towards the right, towards the solution themselves. So as a customer educates themselves on this process, the more they get down this road, the more particular they are on the solution, the more competitive the process is. But also, the more specific the content has to be. So for an example, if we look at the left-hand side, problem, the key message there is your website underperforming? Are you getting no leads from your website? It's not about SEO there. Outcome, would you like more leads from your website? Think about what I'm saying here. Problem, are you getting no leads from your website? Outcome, would you like more leads from your website? Notice I'm talking in questions because I want people to think. Questions make people think. Decision to change. Why it's important to get leads, a healthy level of inbound leads from your website. See the point? Solution, how SEO can help you get inbound leads from your website. So the closer the customer gets to the solution, learning of the solution themselves, educating themselves on the solution, the more specific your content has to be. Now, here's the problem. The vast majority of people focus on educating people at the solution stage. They create content for the solution stage. It's actually the most competitive stage of the buying journey, and it's the most where the margin gets squeezed more. Why? Because that down on the right-hand side is where people go to Google and go SEO agency Bristol. That's where people start to look. At the left-hand side, they go, why does my website get no traffic? And that's what they Google. Now, you can take people on a journey from the problem stage, the outcome stage, and the decision to change stage, and take them on a journey with you and educate them in how you can help them and give them tips and value points along the way. When you get further down the other side, think about this, SEO agency Bristol, that's a competitive process. You have to compete with other SEO agencies. When you're down the other side, you're competing with who? Lots of different people, lots of different companies. And so the beauty of this as well is that people who are problem aware respond to a message, but actually the solution stage people respond to the same message too. But if you do the SEO article, how to grow your web traffic with SEO, you may or may not engage those people. It doesn't mean they won't, but it means that you can engage people more broadly. So think about the problems, and you want to reach people at the stage where they're not fully aware of the depth of their problem, so that you can provide that enlightenment. You can provide the diagnosis of their cold. So you can say, have you got this symptom? Have you got this symptom? Have you got this symptom? Have you got a cold? You've probably got a cold. And then you can help people on the journey. So this is the journey people go through. So it's really key that you understand the problems and the symptoms that your customers might be facing. And then the client needs to believe your answer can solve their problem. Your answer can solve their problem. That's just by becoming an expert and articulating articulating yourself in a way that the client resonates with. So don't go too jargon centric, but just explain things in a way that they understand. You're articulating their problem. That's half the battle. So what problems do you solve? That is what your clients are interested in. What's the key things? And that's probably going to be symptoms. Look for the symptoms of the main problems. Look, what are they? What's happening in the business as a result of them not having your product or service? What are things going on? Is it they're duplicating records? Is it they're having to do more ad budget? What's going on? Yeah. Think about all of those things. Are you spending more and more on ads, but seems to be getting less and less leads? That could be a great article to talk about SEO. Does your content create this is really important. Does your content create curiosity so that people want to know more? Curiosity in content is your biggest weapon. Subject lines, introductory sections of content, lead magnets. Curiosity kills cats and attracts prospects. So this is really important. If you give too much away in your content too quickly, people won't pay attention. So you want to keep people a bit curious, a bit of mystery, particularly in social posts. Don't give away too much in the first few lines because you want people to read more. If you do, for an example, a post or a blog or an article about a symptom that you can fix, you don't have to give everything away. You can just diagnose as a post a symptom and tell people why this symptom's happening in their business. Why? Because if you do that and they go, actually, you were spot on, they will want to know more. Think of it a little bit like Netflix. When Netflix puts a series on, or any TV show really, they always have a season finale. And it's not a finale. It's not a finale at all. It's not a final episode. It's a cliffhanger for the next series. Some of your content should be a cliffhanger for the next thing so that people want the next thing. It should not be always a self-contained, this is it, this is everything. Why? Multiple touch points help people build trust, helps people learn that you are the answer. So don't think that you should be doing things in one piece, one big blowout. This is the lead magnet to change all lead magnets. It's a series of things. And if you try to do it in one, you won't be able to build the credibility that having two touch points will bring. Just two will massively improve your credibility because you will leave people hungry for more, and so they will look for more. That's the key here. Just let me get my... So remember this, and I've already kind of touched on this, but this is the biggest thing you can do in content. The pain points, the pains, the symptoms, the consequences is what the client's current reality is. This is where they're at right now. Point A. Point B is where your customers will be with your product, service, whatever it is you're offering. That's where they'll be. So what are the benefits of your product? What's the current reality? Your biggest weapons in producing content that can convert is focusing in on point A and point B, because the gap between those two things is your service. Now, they don't care about your service. Prospects don't care about their service. They only care about your service if they believe it can get them from point A to point B. If it gets them from A to B, it's a tool, it's a vehicle that gets them where they want to go. Saving time, saving money, whatever the benefits of your service is, that's where they want to get to. And so your smartest strategy is to understand from the outset what's their current reality, symptoms, pains, and consequences. Because once you understand them, you now see the value of the outcomes in context. Test it in post, test it in consequences. I told somebody to do this a few weeks ago and said, write about the pains. Just write posts about the pains. They came back to me and said, the best posts I've ever had, best social media posts I've ever had in terms of views, engagement, best posts I've ever had. I said, now you know what you're doing. Now you've understood a little bit more about how to do this. So your service, your product is a tool. That's what it is. It's just a method to get them to a destination. And your job is to show people that you can get them from A to B and educate them that your tool can do that. So never forget that the only reason people are interested in your tool, there's probably one main benefit that does it, and then a lot of supplementary benefits that kind of augment that and make it a no-brainer. But never forget, it's the pains and the outcomes that really convince people to buy. It's the pains and the outcomes that make people see that this is worth it. This is worth the investment. It's worth buying. It's worth taking the time to have a conversation. It's worth clicking that button to book a call. That's what it's worth, because they want to get from A to B. So when you're writing your content, remember this, because this is the most important thing. And when you get those leads, when you get those inquiries, remember that the sales conversation and the future conversations you have with them will all be in following that train or pattern, because that's what's engaged them, that's what's interested in, that's where they want to get to. And so you should focus on that intently all the way through the process. I've got to write a post in a minute. So I'll do a post in a second. Again, if you want any of the resources I've said tonight, I've left the email on screen so you can get them. But if you want to do the demo in a second, here's what you can do. If you'd like to be my demo post, I will write a post in real time now, and I'll explain why I'm doing it. It might not be perfect because I'm going to do it literally real and live at 7:41 on the 6th of April. So just so you know, this isn't recorded. There are 4 key elements to a post: structure, stopping power, staying power, and engagement. So I will show you this in real time, but if you want me to do this on write an example post for you in real time, I will do it now. But what I'd like to do, I'd like you to share with me, if you'd like to be a participant, share with me your top pain point for your product or service. What's the top pain point? And then also share with me what your service is. So is it a VA? Is it accountancy? Is it IT? Is it a SaaS project? Whatever it is, share with me in the chat. And I'm going to flick to LinkedIn because I love LinkedIn. LinkedIn's my favorite platform. And I'm going to write a post. And I'll try and write it about one of yours if you've got anybody who wants to volunteer. If not, I will write one myself about my business. So if anybody wants to be a crash test dummy, feel free. But I'm going to talk to you about the 4 key things. I'm going to construct them in a post. So anybody? Nobody? Anybody? The chat's a bit delayed tonight, so I can't see anybody coming through. So the last one is Nicola. Serbia. Okay, well, if some come through, I'll maybe do another one. But so the first thing about writing a post, is you've got to get the structure right. And by structure, I mean how it's read. So number one, most people are going to read a post on a mobile phone. Maybe I'll pull one up, actually. I'll pull a post up. Let me just pull a post up. Let's have a look at this one here. Right, so let me just zoom out and I'll show you this. If anybody wants to connect with me, by the way, feel free to connect. So this is a post I put up yesterday. And as you can see, some people are coming through now. So I'll maybe do a few of these in a second. So as you can see, I've done the structure, and the structure is it's very easy to read on a mobile. Short sentences, not too long, but I've broken it down so it's really easy to read. I'll just come back again because I want to show you this. So the first thing is the structure, which is how the post is, the text is put out. So it's very easy to read. But then look at the post here. So people are starting to put them in. So I'll go through some of these. Awesome. So I've put a very provocative, and remember that Netflix season finale where you leave people with a cliffhanger. So number one, if you look at this post, face value here, it does not tell you very much. It just leaves you going, what's this about? Now, preface this, I'm connecting with people who want to grow their business and make more organic sales. So I am doing a pain point centric about there's lots of people saying you can do lots of things on LinkedIn, but they really don't know what they're doing. And so I've tried to diagnose some of the problems in the market around generating business on LinkedIn. So first one is stopping power. So I've done structure, stopping power. So it's about the image. So Cameron Diaz waving her hair, it makes sense with the post, but it doesn't give it away what we're about. So it creates this air of, what's this about? I don't understand. Don't get scammed on LinkedIn. What's the picture got to do with it? So it creates curiosity. And then here are some of the common ones doing the rounds. Oh, I need to know what they are. Curiosity. So I've got stopping power with a visual that gets attention. This picture actually makes sense in a minute. And some text that creates curiosity. So you can't really understand what I'm talking about at this point. And then I diagnose some of the common scams or fake stuff that goes on LinkedIn. So the first one, one of the big ones, which relates to the image, is the honeypot, an attractive person of the opposite sex made up to con you into talking with a sales rep. Yes, in 2021, this happens, sexualized to sell. The AI fake, and I diagnose a whole host of things that are going wrong on LinkedIn. Why? I have a program that helps people in 90 days go from zero to sales in 90 days. Very intensive program, group program with lots of other businesses, all live. And so I'm showing people that you can do it, but I'm setting people up to diagnose some of the problems on LinkedIn. And I wrote it out in a very simple way. So I've got stopping power, which is the visual and the teaser. Now it's about staying power, whether it's Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever it is. Barbara, LinkedIn's brilliant for health and wellness and all of those things. So stopping power is about getting people to stop scrolling and go, what's this? Staying power, which is the next one. So we've got structure, stopping power, staying power. Staying power is all about, can you get people to keep reading? Are you providing something interesting? Sales pitches and propaganda about your company is not interesting. What's interesting is what keeps people curious. Have I had this? Have I seen this? So it's about their problems. It's about their challenges. Una, if you want to replay of this, just email me or drop me a line on LinkedIn and I'll share the link with you. So I'm getting people to stay. On LinkedIn, it's about 3 seconds. On Facebook, it's a bit longer, but you're trying to get people to stay for longer. Really important. Now, as you'll see here, I'll just cover this as an aside. So number one, on social media, you should be using hashtags that your customers are likely to be following. Your customers are likely to be following. Hashtags have nothing to do with the topic that you're talking about. So if you're doing an SEO post and you put hashtag SEO, forget it. Talk to the businesses you're most likely to be able to help. So if I'm doing a post and I'm writing a post and I'm a marketing agency for construction, I would be putting hashtag construction on my post. I won't be putting hashtag marketing. Or I wouldn't focus on that, because I don't want to promote my post to more marketing agencies. I want to promote my post to more construction companies. So use the hashtags of your customers, not the hashtags of your topic or your industry. So structure, stopping power, visuals and first lines, staying power, keeping people looking for longer. Brilliant way to get staying power on LinkedIn is the PDFs. GIFs do very well to get people to stay a bit longer. Videos do very well, although videos, you take a hit on LinkedIn for the number of views. Then we come to the final one, which is engagement. Now, engagement is all about three key things. All social media platforms measure these slightly differently, but they all come and measure them anyway. So they measure them the same way. Likes, comments, and dwell time. Yeah. So have you got people to stay longer, stay on the post? Have you got likes? Have you got comments? On LinkedIn, comments are more valuable than likes, although they're harder to get. So that's what it's all about. That's what gets you the reach, the distribution, the visibility, all of those things. So how do you get more people to engage? Well, the simple one is you have to touch their emotions. You have to engage them, their emotions. You have to create something that's interesting. So it's emotional. It's questions. So asking lots of questions in a post, asking a question in the top line. Asking a question in the top line will get you statistically more engagement, more replies and comments. But if you look back, let's be honest, go look back at some of your posts. How many of your posts have been you telling people information versus asking? Now, there's nothing wrong with doing both, but if you want to get your engagement up, which gets you more visibility and more distribution, you have to ask more questions so that you get more comments. Now, you'll never get as many comments as you get likes. It's just not how it works. But as you can see on this one, went a bit crazy over Easter. 134,000, 120 comments, 1,700 likes. Now, that's an unusual one for me. But this one, a GIF, Gordon Ramsay, are your prospects ignoring you? Talk about the problem of selling on LinkedIn, and 9,000 views. Not as many as the other one, but it's a sales post. I'm literally going very focused on my prospects. So that's the keys here: stopping power, staying power, and engagement, not forgetting the structure. Now, I'll talk you through this post in a minute, but let me just catch up with where everybody's at. So conversation and interest from brands about being a sponsor, that rights holder. So it sounds like a lot of you, if we look here, marketing agency for independent schools. So Wayne, COVID aside, marketing agency for independent schools, you've got a big drive to attract new students. If they're independent, I'm assuming it's fee paying, so you will have a revenue attracted to that. So again, I'd be talking about the symptoms of that. What's the symptoms of an underperforming intake? 5 reasons why your intake underperformed. 5 reasons your what do they call it now? Wayne, I can't think what it. 5 reasons why your recruitment drive, marketing recruitment for students fails. These are key ones you can do. How to optimize your marketing campaign for success, recruitment, student drive recruitment. Think about those things. They're the ones. Acquiring new clients for a digital marketing agency, John. So why do they want new clients? Is it just the fact that some of their clients have gone out of business? Is it the fact that the life cycle of those clients are short? Think about those things, because they're the things you can flesh out in posts. And what you do is you put them out in posts, you push them out in posts, and then what happens is you end up in a situation whereby you can promote the pains, and people pay attention to the pains. So if there's any questions on this, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn as well, because there's a lot to go through in a short period of time. I want to share this post with you. First of all, everybody's so eager to promote, but they miss something. So this post actually netted me £100,000 in sales. And I didn't get huge engagement. I got a bit, but not massive. So again, structure. This one's very short. It's a PDF file. And I put a very provocative title. This is actually a series of slides from a presentation I did at a GDPR workshop. And so I did this slide, this post, and used my slides, just about 4 or 5 slides, I think it was. And this generated me £100,000 sale. So the first thing about this post is, and the slides, is I bust a myth. I bust a myth. I don't give people the answer. I bust a myth. I show a different way of thinking. I've not given all the answers, and I create a cliffhanger. In other words, at the end of this, I say you can email market as B2B. GDPR did not eliminate this. Whatever you've been told is nonsense. And I explain it, and I show the letter from the ICO to explain it. So you give people a taste so that they want to know more. The person made an inquiry, said that was really fascinating, that post. Can I have a chat with you? We had a chat. A few weeks later, they were a customer. Because the idea is that you want your content to get people to want to know more, and then you can end up in a conversation and engage with them. So hopefully that makes sense. So where you're trying to present lots and lots of information, you probably need to condense it down and use the fact that people want to know more to keep them hungry to ask for more. That's really, really important. If there's any questions, I'm going to try and get through as many questions as we can. But this is a key thing to understand. Now, just before, if you've got questions, put them in the chat and I'll answer them in a second. I'm more than happy to send this to you if you'd like. It's just a really simple framework you can use to write content. And you'll notice I start with, I don't start with the title of the content. I start with who's it for? Who is this post? Who is this blog? Who is this lead magnet? Who is it for? What's the problem they've got? What's in it for them? What's in it for you? What do you want them to do next? Now, what's the title? So a very simple structure. This should be the way you write content. You should not start with a title and then figure out what you're going to write. Who is it for? What's the problem? What's in it for them? What's in it for you? What do you want them to do next? And what's the killer title? They're the key elements of writing any kind of content. If what we find is lots of people go, oh, we need to write a blog. So they write a blog and then dump at the end. Why don't you do this? Why don't you buy that? It doesn't work because the flow's wrong. If you start with who's it for, all your examples and analogies can then relate to the person it's for. What problem do they have? You can start ask questions, make points about the problems. So it gives you focus. What's in it for them? So can we give them 5 simple tips they can use to generate leads? What's in it for them? You get to share information about how they do it and offer a lead magnet, a deeper resource, a download. Okay, fine. So you might write a blog, you write a post, top line here, that actually the goal of that post is to get people to download a guide. You might write a post like the bottom one here, where it's actually the call to action is buy our LinkedIn training course, check out our accelerator program. You see what I'm saying? So this is a really simple structure. Again, just email me or email us or drop a line to us and we'll get it. So Maximilian, any tactic for high net worth individuals? Well, interestingly enough, some people, Maximilian hasn't said this. That's a cool name, by the way, Maximilian. It's quite a good name for targeting high net worth individuals, actually. Even very net wealthy people have pain points. One of the famous ones I talk about is the Lamborghini problem. The Lamborghini problem. And this is to illustrate that you can have an aspiration that becomes a problem. So, you know, I've said this before. Some of you'll know I'm a stuck record with it. A Lamborghini, £200,000. The average Lamborghini gets driven 5,000 miles a year, which roughly costs them about £4 a mile in fuel, roughly. So £4 a mile in fuel, fuel maintenance, all that stuff. £4 a mile in fuel and maintenance. So it costs them £20,000 a year to drive 5,000 miles. The depreciation is minuscule. It's about 5% a year, so it's very little. But still, there's the financing cost or however you buy it. So you look at it and you go, to do 25,000 miles in a Lamborghini, it's going to cost you 100 grand. 100 grand. It's hardly the type of car you nip to the shop at Tesco. Most of it's spent in the garage, and most of it's 5 years that you'd have it, or 3 years that you have it, would spend in the garage, the majority. It would also, the vast majority of Lamborghinis never regularly get used on racetracks. So most of them never actually get up to their top speed. And if they do, it's once, maybe twice. It's very rare. So you think about this as a Lamborghini problem. So why do people spend all this money on a Lamborghini if it's going to be, it's just sucks money, right? Why do they do it? I'll tell you why they do it. Lamborghinis are very big statements. Very big statements. So if you choose to buy one, yes, you're telling yourself, there's a percentage of people who go, oh, I love Lamborghinis. I'm a Lamborghini diehard fan. But the majority of them are buying it to make a statement to themselves and to the world. So Lamborghini, all of their marketing, all of their content is to reinforce that message. So the pain point of some high net worth individuals is actually, I need to show the world that I have arrived. That's what the Lamborghini is. So there are lots of different aspirational problems and pain points too. Targeting high net worth individuals. So it's no different. It's looking at what you're selling, Maximilian. It's looking at the benefits of what you're selling and finding the pain points of those things. It's exactly the same whether they're billionaires, millionaires, or employees. In some of my roles that I've worked consulting with clients, I've been on big fundraising exercises for businesses and non-profits where we've had to demonstrate and convince people and persuade people to invest in a pitch or in proposals, all of these different things. And the principles are the same. They want to see that this is good for them. And that's about what benefits come out the other side. Is there an upside for them of this? Because that's what they're looking to achieve. And then grappling into what are the challenges they've had before? What are the objections they may have had before? And Maximilian, it's exactly the same. I've been in 4 or 5 meetings for clients or engaged by clients where I've had to make proposals to people for several millions of pounds. And the conversations are no different. The conversations are no different than selling, a £10,000 product. The conversations are identical. It's about them believing you can solve a problem that they've got. So it might be, as an investor, they want to beat the bank in terms of the return. So they want to know that you're a safe bet. They want to have some confidence that your business proposal will actually net them more, better return. It's the same things. It's the same things whichever way you do it. So think about that. The high net worth individuals, you can find lots of them on LinkedIn, tons of them on LinkedIn, but they're not going to be called high net worth individuals. They're going to be people who are CEOs or retired CEOs of large companies. You can find them on LinkedIn very easily. It doesn't really matter. Once you understand the pains, you can find the people. Any more questions? Just as an aside, I'll share this if anybody wants to drop us an email. This is a headlines, opening lines worksheet. Again, happy to share this with you. It just gives you some tips of how you can write headlines that create curiosity. So if you want that, just drop us an email or find me on LinkedIn. I'll share that with you. But the key to content is understanding where the customers are coming from, the pain points they're coming from. Any questions? Any questions? Anybody got any questions? You're all very quiet. So just as an aside, if you've bought the resource book from today, tomorrow we will drop you a line with access to the book. If you wanted a one-to-one session, or you booked and paid for a one-to-one session, we'll also email you to walk that through with you as well. If you want to work with us a bit more closely, or want to find out how you can work with us more closely, we have an accelerator program. It's a 90-day sprint using content, social media, whichever way you want to go. I'm not expecting you to book and buy any of this stuff, by the way. If you want to know more, drop us a line. We'll arrange a call. We'll show you how it works and some of the things we've helped other people achieve. That's absolutely fine. You drop us an email, and we'll share that with you. So just the key takeaways. We've got the pain point worksheets you can have. Just email us. We've got the headline worksheet, the framework. All of those are just email us and you'll get it. If you want the replay, you can have that too. And if you want to know more about how we can help you do a revenue sprint with content, with social media, drop us a line. We'll have a call and see what happens. Most important thing, implement what you've learned tonight. What I've shared to you works. So do use it, make the benefit of it. Don't just make it another thing that you've learned and moved on from. Catherine, tonight's session, we have a book that you can buy. Drop us a line or go to our shop. It's on our shop, maverick.shop. And you can get access to the book. You can buy it there, or if you already prepaid for it, you can get it there. And you can also book a one-to-one if you want. But if you already bought them, don't worry. We will message you to arrange a time for you to have a one-to-one session. Thanks again for what you're doing. If you really want to make a difference in your business, find out about the revenue sprint stuff that we do. But other than that, thank you for watching. Next week, we've got a new session. We've got a personal branding session coming up as well. So check out the company page. One final thing before you all disappear. Please, please, please give us a like and a subscribe on YouTube, on our Facebook page, on our LinkedIn company page. We really appreciate that. And feel free to come connect with me, Facebook, LinkedIn, and all the other places. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good week. Go implement it and see it work for you.